My name is Becky Montrone. We have a business here in Keene called Wondrous Roots. I am an holistic healthcare practitioner with a degree in holistic nutrition. I'm also an herbalist, so I have the fun of doing a lot of different things that really suit me and that I really love to do. That's really a blessing in life, right? Isn't it? When you get to spend your time doing things that really bring you joy and that also you feel are important and you feel you're living your life with intention and purpose. And I get all of you wonderful people in my family and in my community. So very, very grateful. Anyway, our business is here in Londonderry. No, we started in Londonderry, but we're in Keene, New Hampshire, where I started many moons ago. And we are located in the Miller Forge building, which is an old mill building. It's really very beautiful. Exposed brick and ductwork inside the building and beautiful hardwood floors. All with these like nails, like hand nailed, or I don't know if they were hand nailed or what, but probably it's a very old building. So it used to be like a forgery, and not isn't that what they call it? A forge. A forge. Anyway, where they made, metal stuff. And then it was, for a while, it was the Antioch College, which is in Keene. It is the, what you call the graduate school for Keene State College for teachers. And then, in fact, I believe my office suite, my front office suite here was like their main office. It was cut up into cubicles. Anyway, it's a little bit of history here, but it's a beautiful, beautiful location. It's in downtown Keene, where we have a large parking lot with a lot of free parking, which is a dear commodity here in Keene downtown, because we have 2-hour parking and we have parking meters all over the place, and you can only park for 2 hours. So if I get going in a meeting with you and I gab for over 2 hours, then you got to move your car. You would have to move your car and then like whatever. Anyway, it's just really great. We are open 9:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. We're up on the 3rd floor. You get off the elevator or the stairwell, and then you will be right at our door, which when we're open, our door is open. 9:30 to 5 are shop hours. And so we have tons of supplements we stock from other companies based mostly on the work that I do with people and the things that I like to have available and recommend for people. Sometimes things that are hard to find in other places, like at the co-op or, in town. And then we have a full online store as well. All of our things can be purchased online, shopwondrousroots.com. And what else do I want to say about that? And then we make a lot of our products. So really fun being an herbalist. And I can remember my early days attending herbal conferences and going to classes and to see where I am now with all of the different formulas. Oh, and I just came up with 3 more. So one, I was going to do one when I was talking about estrogen dominance and progesterone a little while back. I was going to do a formula called EstroGo. And I had certain plants kind of picked out, but I never got to that. And then one of my clients asked me, she said that she was getting something from Women Wise. It was like an herbal progesterone, natural progesterone support. And she asked me if I could make it for her because they were having a hard time getting the sarsaparilla. So I ordered some sarsaparilla. That was the only herb that I didn't have. And so I made that, formulated that, copying that formula. And that one is called Progest Plus. I haven't got on my website yet, but I will this weekend. And then I did one called Cramp Flow Go and Flow Slow. So I have for your menstrual period. So like my cycle T, for things that slow down that rapid flow of blood and the inflammation, such as shepherd's purse and yarrow. Those things are in the flow slow. But that would also apply to other things that are like internal hemorrhage. Now, if you're having internal hemorrhage and you don't know why, some people have like rectal bleeding, or they might have internal hemorrhoids or something like that. That it's not like an emergency, but you want to stop it. So it would be appropriate for something like that too. But we're thinking primarily, and then the Cramp Flow Go is heavy menorrhagia, bleeding with cramping and the pain. So cramp bark is a natural muscle tension, muscle relaxant. Oh, I should have put some skull cap in there. Well, I haven't got it on my website yet, and I haven't, I could just do that. I made it, but I can add the skull cap and change the label. That's what you get to do when you're the boss. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be getting those up on my website too, writing some blogs about it. Now, I'm really wanting to tell you, okay, if you want to participate, you can raise your hand and I will call on you to speak. If you want to type, you can type into the chat or you can type into raise your hand. You can also, if you type into the chat, if you just want to talk to me privately, you can do that, or you can talk to everybody. Okay, so got that down. Now I have to try to impress you. I started this presentation, which is about almost 70 slides long, at 9 o'clock last night, and I worked all night long and I have not slept. I had a blast. And I'm still flying high. So yeah, it took me probably, Krista and Dylan left. We had supper. Mary was over. We had Friday night. We had a little bite to eat. And they left probably around 8:30, Krista and Dylan. And then I kind of settled in. I did some work for a client that I was behind on. And then I got going. So, but I was really bound and determined to go. And I just had my second, third, and fourth wind. And every now and then I do that. I did it Sunday night. I was up, I worked till 4:30 and got up at 7. It was fine. Now then, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I slept a good 8 to 9 hours each night. So then last night I was ready to go again. But I really wanted to do it because as I tie things together, it's really helping me, even when I work with my clients, because I have this beautiful big monitor in my office and I can have them sit and we can share the screen. And rather than me just describing things that I'm doing, like say when I'm working with cancer, say a person has cancer, I can easily just demonstrate and go through. So I wanted to pull together a whole PowerPoint presentation that does that. And so I'm going to do that. If nobody has anything, again, if you have anything you want to talk about that has nothing to do with cancer, that's fine. Just pipe right up. I love fielding questions and answering anything that I can. If I can't, I'll find out whatever I can and get back to you. What else did I want to say? Oh, I did. Remember we talked last week about urolithin A and the cycling, the HIT, the high intensity training. So I did that this week. And not every single day, but you don't have to do it every single day. And so I did do the 4 units of 60 seconds of cycling furiously on low tension, right? And then 60 seconds, and then 75 seconds of slow pedal. Do it again. You can really feel something's happening. It's very, very cool. And it's interesting that in that very short amount of time, because you're cycling so fast during those 60-second spurts, 4 of those, you get in, actually, the distance comes out to be like about 1.5 miles, just over 1.5 miles. So it's pretty good because I can do my bouncing and I can do my bouncing and that, and then my upper body weight work in just about, no more in stretch in no more than a half hour. So I'm really excited about that. And I really encourage you, if you didn't see that one or want to get the information, you don't have to listen. You could actually just go, but the listening is pretty good too, to kind of hone that in. So that was last week. That was aging with grace and strength, if you haven't seen that one. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, whenever I do this, I have to, okay, the meeting is being recorded, all well and good. Whoops, I always do that. I bring the whole bar down, chat, bring that over, put my head up here. Okay, that, and then I'm gonna find my, whoops. Where's my Gosh, I do this all the time. My participants. All right, there you are. All right, that's gotta watch. Make sure I do it. See if somebody raises their hand. Whoops. Make that smaller. We are getting there. Okay. I think we're good. All right, great. Okay, so I say buckle up. I put together a comprehensive slide presentation detailing how I work with people when they have cancer, item by item, with lots of supportive information. This is the information I share with clients when counseling them regarding a cancer diagnosis. I think this is really important. You know, cancer, also very helpful regarding the prevention of cancer. And you're going to laugh, those of you who know me, when you see my list, because a lot of the core of it is stuff I have on your list if you're working with me and you don't have cancer, right? But this is why you're not going to have cancer, because all of these things overlap so much. It's what I always say. It's like so amazing. Like, well, Becky, do you just put everybody on the same thing? And I'm like, well, there's certain things that just really apply to so many different things. So anyway, cancer cases are increasing at an alarming rate. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I sure am, just in the work I do. I hear that from people who work at the clinic at the here in town. Anyway, so I didn't put my PDF in here because I didn't want you to get a sneak peek. But when I later on this evening get that all up on YouTube and Rumble, I will then share the link and you will be able to download that PDF. And another thing I want to say is that that is going to change with time as I learn new things, as I change things up. I don't just say, well, this is what I do, this is what I've always done, and this is what I'm always going to do. No, I change things as I learn things. And I think that that's exciting. So what I will do on my cancer page, and I'll go there now just to demonstrate. So I said today, so, you know, I'm doing this. I will put up the video. The video will be stagnant, right? But I will change the PDF as I add or whatever I do with it. And I also will have there, I believe I already put it up there, an example of supportive protocol for a person with cancer, which we're going to get to. It's part of the presentation. So that just to say, that may change. So I'll always say, like, see, I said 8/2/24, so it's gonna change. If I add something to it, if I change it, I'll say that, and then you can check back and you can say, you know, has it been updated since I last saw it? If you're interested, but a lot of people are, because cancer is a big deal. And maybe it's not a big deal for you, but maybe you know somebody it might be, and this is kind of a good way for them to kind of get an idea how I do work with people with cancer. Okay, so all right, so now I'm going to close that, close this, close this, and that should leave me here. And you should all be able to see that. If you can't, I don't think that's obstructed at all in the view just because my chat is there or not, but maybe I'll do that just in case it is. Okay, so cancer, an intelligent approach. Table of contents, what is cancer, conventional cancer therapies. And then, as you guys know, who have been with me, and let me just say, if you're watching, maybe this is the first video you've seen that I've done on Rumble or YouTube, and you're just tuning in, if you go to the description, you will be able to look down and click on the newsletter that goes with it. Probably, I may have to do, no. This time what I'll do is I'll put a link to the PDF right there in the description, a link to the PDF, which will be on my website. I'm just thinking that out loud, so that you can get that PDF with yourself the way I'm describing. Okay. Conventional cancer therapies, a slap it silly approach, again, always using that approach, which is we don't need to use everything that addresses cancer or anything, we need to use something that addresses each vulnerability, at least as I have to do it, at least as I understand them. And I'm sure I don't understand cancer exhaustively, but as I understand it. And that to me is like a better way. It keeps you with a shorter list, but with a more potent punching, like punch, punch, punch from many different directions. Slap, slap, slap. Okay. What is cancer? Just very briefly. Cancer is a disease in which some of the body's cells grow uncontrollably and spread to other parts of the body. Cancer can start almost anywhere in the human body, which is made up of trillions of cells. Normally, human cells grow and multiply through a process called cell division to form new cells as the body needs them. When cells grow old or become damaged, they die and new cells take their place. That's called apoptosis. And so programmed cell death. When things are working the way they're supposed to, when they go old, they get damaged, they're starting to mutate, they're told you must leave. And then, however, cancer is aberrant cellular activity. Sometimes this orderly process breaks down and abnormal or damaged cells grow and multiply when they shouldn't. These cells may form tumors, which are lumps of tissue. Tumors can be cancerous or not cancerous. You've been told I have a tumor, it's benign, it's not cancer. Cancerous tumors spread into or invade nearby tissues. Let me just make sure I can see everybody so I can make sure if I see hands. Sorry, just want to make sure, especially Joe. I've been missing Joe lately when he tries to do that. Okay. Cancerous tumors, okay. Cancerous tumors spread into or invade nearby tissues and can travel to distant places in the body to form new tumors, a process called metastasis. Cancerous tumors may also be called malignant tumors. Many cancers form solid tumors, but cancers of the blood, such as leukemias, generally do not. So conventional cancer treatment, primarily surgery, radiation, chemotherapy. These are the primary tools in the American Medical Association standard of care toolkit. At this point in time, cancer is still considered incurable. If cancer is found to be absent following a treatment, the person is usually said to be in remission. Although it was interesting, I did see on some of the like standard things like Mayo and stuff, them using the word cure, the person's cancer is cured. And I was really quite surprised because they usually don't do that because, well, I won't go into that, but they usually don't. They usually say you're in remission or you're a cancer survivor. Radiation therapy is a type of cancer treatment. You may also hear it called radiotherapy or therapeutic radiology. Radiation therapy kills cancer cells with beams of high energy X-rays, gamma rays, or charged particles called electrons or protons. It can be used in many ways. It depends on the type of cancer you have and where it is in your body. Side effects of radiation therapy typically happen within weeks of starting radiation treatment. Many of these side effects improve once radiation treatment finishes. Early side effects may include fatigue, nausea, skin changes, hair loss. Late side effects may not appear until after your radiation treatment ends. For example, if you've had radiation to your chest area, it's possible to develop lung or heart disease months or years later. I will tell you that a couple of the things we use for cancer that I use, glutathione, I got to say it, and I'm going to say it more than once, and melatonin really protect you from the side effects of chemo and radiation. And that's a wonderful thing because many people with cancer don't want to choose natural health over these things, nor do they have to. You can get a better result and less damage to your healthy cells by combining things. And also glutathione and melatonin help those cancer treatments to work better. So it's really it's a win-win. We'll get into that a little bit more in a few minutes. Chemotherapy is a drug treatment that uses powerful chemicals to kill fast-growing cells in your body. Chemotherapy is most often used to treat cancer, since cancer cells grow and multiply much more quickly than most cells in the body. And they say most often used to treat cancer. Sometimes we'll use chemotherapy to treat autoimmune illnesses. Methotrexate is one that you might be familiar with, having maybe been on yourself or know somebody who has. Chemotherapy is most, oh yeah, okay. Many different chemotherapy drugs are available. Chemotherapy drugs can be used alone or in combination to treat a wide variety of cancers. And so this is, chemotherapy is actually, brilliant science. It's just that the drugs are usually harsh because the constituents that kill the cancer are taken out of their natural environment and leave behind things that mitigate toxicity and side effects. We'll get into in a few minutes as well. But one of the things that I do when I'm looking at different cancers is looking to see what are the combinations of drugs, what are they using in chemotherapy to treat this cancer, because you will look at what pathways are being affected, and they're different with different cancers, and then try to get a better grip on what herbs to use that affect the same pathway. Does that make sense? Yes, of course it does, Becky. Chemotherapy side effects, as you know, if anybody knows somebody who's been through chemo, and maybe you have, you can see kind of a menu there of things that are not very pleasant. So one of the problems is that chemotherapy, the poison is hitting your healthy cells as well as your unhealthy cells. And so that's where that comes from. But again, we can do something about that. So a complementary or alternative toolkit, the Wondrous Roots Slap It Silly approach. So again, when it comes to cancer, like many conditions of ill health, I tell my clients that it isn't necessary to use everything out there we know of that fights cancer. Sometimes people will come to me with like, a list of 30 something different things they're on because they read this is good for cancer, that's good for cancer, this will help treat cancer. And that's true. It's great that there's a bazillion wonderful things out there that do in the natural world. But I try to simplify but amplify. Keep the list shorter, but more effective. And I do that by kind of saying, how is cancer going? How is cancer trying to outsmart me? How is cancer trying to win in my body? Okay, so different ways. We're going to go through the list, but try to get one way, you hit it, and the cancer's like, whoa, that wasn't very nice. But then I'll get you over here, and bam, you get slapped over here. Well, that wasn't good either, but man, I've got other tricks up my sleeve that you don't even know about. Whoa. And you just try to keep it reeling, right? Just keep it reeling from every angle you can. That's the idea of the Slap It Silly approach. So again, an ever-evolving plan. I was just saying, just keep up with the page, because it will constantly, every time, it might be every day I read something new about cancer in my travels, or something I'm looking up and I want to tell somebody else or look up for somebody, and it will get added to my page. And if it belongs in this presentation, it will come in here too. Not everything will, right? But if I add something else to my my basic protocol. A word of caution: my information is not to be a substitute for consulting with your physician. Cancer is serious. You need somebody to be following you. Even if you decide you don't, you pick and choose, or you don't want to go with whatever they're recommending in oncology, that's of course up to you. But you need to be followed. You really want to have oncology following you to find out where your cancer stands, and be doing the blood work that's appropriate, be doing the scans that are appropriate to take a peek inside and know what's going on. And I do have my full legal disclaimer, can be seen here if you want to see it, but you're kind of like, I'm just putting myself under that. Further, I don't use the same things precisely with every client I work with. Everybody's different. Most people with cancer, like most people without cancer, have other health issues, are on some medications of different kinds, I much prefer to work with people one-on-one to custom tailor my recommendations, taking all medical and health history into consideration. However, I am making my information public so that you can benefit from the rich and targeted education and can, if you wish, advisedly put them into practice. If you are doing this apart from working with me and even working with me, you are taking full responsibility, but remember that you have full freedom to take care of your health in any manner you choose. So while your doctor is very important, your doctor does not wield any legal authority over you. Might, if you have a minor, right? If you are the parent of a minor that is in your care, say a child with leukemia, they will exert some sort of legal power and you'll be limited in choices you can make for your child. Another whole subject I don't really want to get into right now, but in any case, if you're an adult, you make your own decisions. And you can contact me. That goes to my website where you can just fill that out if you have questions, or if you want to consider working with me in formal consultation. So again, do I have to do everything? Again, when working with an individual, we might not use everything I talk about in this presentation. Indeed, every single thing doesn't need to be used in most cases, and in some cases, something might not be appropriate. So as I go through each one, I will say what I think is exactly essential, is really essential to achieve that slap it silly synergy. So here we go, buckle up. Beta-glucan. So cancer cells have an advantage in that they are incognito. In your body, they are lurking about in disguise. They look to your immune system, they look like perfectly healthy cells. And your immune system is like, hey, have a nice day. When you use beta-glucan, 1316D, and this is a form of beta-glucan that's grown on yeast, that's the one that marks them as enemies and also goes in and raises your white blood cell count. Those white blood cells, the macrophages that go after gobbling them up. It's called macrocytosis or phagocytosis. And that is like your immune system going after the cells. Another thing that really helps with that is jumping on a trampoline, rebounding. I've talked about that before, because rebounding really moves your lymph, and it really also raises your macrophage activity against cancer cells. So it's actually been advised, if you have cancer, if you can, every waking hour, do a 5-minute gentle bounce. It's the gentle bounce on the trampoline, the mini rebounder, the mini trampoline that affects the opening and closing of the lymph valves in the upper thighs and moves that lymph. I also have a little demonstration of a way to move your lymph. I don't think I'll do it now. Maybe I'll do it when we get to the lymph part, or maybe I'll just wait and do a little video of it and tell you later. But I do this like little lymphatic massage type routine when I first get on my trampoline in the morning, and it works all of the lymph valve areas. So starts with the collarbone. That's the major area. That's like the big valve. Then you go up to the nodes that are up in the neck, both sides. So you do it. You rub. Well, start here. Rub. I said I wasn't going to do it. All right, I'm going to stop my share and just do it quickly. All right. So this is how you do it. Okay, so you start with the collarbone area and you rub. The guy I saw do this in a video, he said, you got to start here. You suppose your toilet won't flush. He goes, it's the main line. That's the collarbone in the body. So that, and then you slap. Then rub. I mean, circle. Then the same thing. Rub. Slap. Rub. Circle. Then up here, same thing. Rub. Slap. Circle. This side. Then the axillary, the armpit. And just, put a good bit of pressure in there. Rub. Maybe twice as long as each one there. And on this side, right? And then your stomach, your abdomen. So you take longer doing it. Then your groin. Okay. So right in where the legs meet the body here in the groin, like really stick your fingers in there and rub. And then, for the slap, 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 I do also use the tips of my fingers to make sure it gets in there. And then circle, 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 circle. And then behind the knees, you do the same routine. So that's a really good thing. Like, and I do it, you can do that and then bounce. The guy says, then bounce on your heels, right? Because he's not thinking you're on a trampoline. But when you're just warming up on the trampoline and you're lightly bouncing, it's just a great thing to do. And you just really get that, all of that going. And then you're moving the lymph in the upper thighs. You're opening the valves, and it's just really, really good for you. It feels good. It's very cleansing. Okay, Q&A. What melatonin is best to take? I've been using Spring Valley 10 milligrams each night. Connie, we use our melatonin. I use high dose powder because Frank Schallenberger, who's the doctor who, I've got his video in this presentation as well that you can see, but he uses 60 to 180 milligrams with people with cancer. And the more, the better. So we have a powder, it's very inexpensive, and a little tiny, tiny scoop is 60 milligrams, but I am getting to that in the presentation. So I'll get more there. Okay, see if anybody has their hand up. They don't. You don't. Okay. All right. Now let me go back to share my screen. All right. Share. And participants. Okay, there we go. All right. So again, beta glucan and okay. Cancer cells have an advantage in that okay, so anyway, we use beta glucan for that. This beta glucan, again, when you're going through these things, right, those links, you hit the pictures and it'll take you right to the product. And then you just go back, and you're back on here. This is a great bargain because transfer point is what usually is recommended for cancer. It's 1316D, and this is guaranteed 1316D, and it's just much less expensive than transfer point. So then I want you to know that you are going to be able to click on all of these and then just go to them. They are also, again, they are files from my website. So they are links that will not go away. You don't have to worry about somebody taking down that page. So I don't have to worry about that because I'd be the one to worry about that. Like if this presentation is 3 years old, you know, are all these links broken and I don't know, and I don't, you know. So beta glucan. Beta glucan stimulates the immune system in radiotherapy and chemotherapy and also reduce the risk of radiation. So that's really important, right? Because again, you don't have to pick and choose. You don't have to say, I'm going to go natural or I'm going to go traditional. You can get a nice synergy between the two. Help to prevent infections, allergy, autoimmune diseases, free radicals, blah, 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 blah. But beta glucan in the immune system. So beta glucan is a nice immune balancer. So if people have autoimmune conditions or allergies, beta glucan is a good choice. And if people have something like cancer, it's also a good choice. And beta glucan, when it comes to, you can see here, the cancer cell, the phagocytosis, I was telling you about that gobbling up of the cancer cell. So the activated macrophage is bound with beta glucan, and it's going after, it's going to eat up this cancer cells, basically. And it also helps stimulate the production of the immune system cells within the bone marrow. And that leads to the release of new immunocytes in the bloodstream and various lymphoid organs. So again, going after cancer in different ways. This increases the immune surveillance against potential invaders and improves the attack against cancer cells. Like I said, it makes beta-glucan makes your body, your immune system aware that the cancer is the enemy, it's not your friend, and then it raises its ability to fight it. Beta-glucan also stimulates various cells in the body to release anti-cancerous molecules throughout the body. These include tumor necrosis factor, interleukins 1 and 6, hydrogen peroxide, and gamma interferon, which are all proven effective in the fight against cancer and invading microorganisms. So multiple levels there. You might say that beta-glucan is kind of, in a way, its own little slap it silly. And really, that's true of other things we're going to get to. So they don't just work in one way. In fact, melatonin, we're going to find melatonin works in 8 different ways to fight cancer. So again, production of white blood cells, raise that, go after those cancer cells, cellular mobilization, gobble up the cells. Production of reactive oxygen intermediates and help shift from an overstimulated Th2 to a Th1 cell-mediated immune response. And that's what we do with autoimmune. That's what we do for autoimmune conditions. We balance the Th1, Th2. And many of you who have worked with me for that particular problem will recognize the term Moducare. I often use Moducare for that. Moducare is also good for cancer, but again, you don't have to use everything. The only thing I will say is when somebody has cancer, I use a much higher dose of beta-glucan than I do for somebody for not getting, it's like kind of my choice for just keeping your immune system strong during the cold and flu season, but I would have you use like 400 milligrams. If you have cancer, I would have you using 4 times that. So I would have you use four times 3. I usually have people on 3 or 4 capsules, so 1,200 to 1,600 milligrams for a much greater effect. Okay. And then here we have yeast-derived beta-1,3-D glucan and adjuvant concept. Macrophage, again, anti-infective agent, anti-neoplastic. So that again is tumor. So that's neoplastic is cancer development. Experimental data on systemic applications of beta-1,3-D glucan anti-tumor effects is abundant. Significant reduction in tumor growth and prolonged survival. An anaplastic mammary carcinoma study showed results of 70% tumor regression and 80% survival versus 100 in the group with no significantly improved their survival. And these and other experimental models, systemic macrophage activation and certain cytokine releases seem to be critical for clearing tissue from the tumor cells and inhibiting metastasis. So also inhibiting the cells from spreading to other areas of the body. And I would say we do know that beta-glucan and 1,3-D, they sometimes call it 1,3-D, but it's 1,3-1,6-D, and Rituxan they use for chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and the two work really well together. And they're talking about that there, combination, glucan and radiotherapy and radiation. So you can see there that these are great things to use if you are undergoing traditional treatment, and they go after the cancer itself, even when you're not. And then orally administered beta-glucans enhance anti-tumor effects of monoclonal antibodies. So again, working with immunotherapy. Iodine, another one I get to say all the time. And again, if you're working with me for anything, you're 99%, unless I made a mistake, you're on iodine. And again, if you want to see that, all you have to do is click on these pictures. They take you where you want to go. And then iodine, why you need it, why you can't live without it. That book, you can see the link there. So I have a paper here that explains my conversation with Dr. David Brownstein back in 2008, when I was able to speak with him personally about the problem of iodine deficiency. And you can always read that there if you wish. These are all in my cancer page too, but here you can, they're all corralled. Certain ones are corralled in this presentation, so you can kind of do it by category more nicely, more easily. Iodine in cancer, a summary of the evidence to date. I don't know why it goes back to that lead slide every time I do that, but it's a little annoying, isn't it? How molecular iodine attacks breast cancer. So in the iodoral, we have a certain portion of it is potassium iodide, which is super important for the thyroid gland. And of course, the whole body, much of the body runs on thyroid hormone. And so very, very important. And when iodine went missing in as a dough conditioner in conventionally commercially baked goods like bread, loaves of bread and cookies or whatever you would buy and conventionally that the manufacturer would buy commercial grade flour, used to have iodine in it up until like the late 70s. And because of that, people were really absorbing iodine well through that way. But iodized salt is just potassium iodide, and it's not very well absorbed. And then the industry decided to use bromine, which is like chlorine or fluoride. It's a halide. They use bromine to clean pools. And they use that instead. And bromine is a poison that takes up residence in the body where iodine should be. It does happen to make your bread nice and springy, which is why they're using it, but it was a bad decision. So molecular iodine is the form that has been shown to be very effective against breast cancer. And so the iodoral, which is Lugol solution, is partially potassium iodide and partially molecular iodine for the cells of the body. Works in a variety of ways. It does take all of the estrogen in the body and metabolizes it down to the non-cancer causing form, locks that form in, prevents oncogenic changes in the genes spread throughout the DNA in all of those receptors, and blocks the harmful kinds. And so very, 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 iodine is seriously anti-cancer and very anti-hormonal cancers. So we're talking breast, ovarian, endometrial, and prostate in men. Iodine is vital for good health. You can see that. And then extra threonine. So extra kind of like things that have nothing to do with the thyroid. Actions of iodine is an antioxidant, apoptotic, killing cancer cells, and differentiation factor in various tissues. So very, very important. So it's really a shame not to get on that, right? So, so far I would say, the beta glucan and the iodine are essential to my protocol. They're not optional. Iodine deficiency in cancer. And I had this highlighted at one point in my files just because it will also kill abnormal cells floating around in the body at remote sites from the original cancer. Okay, so it's not just about the estrogen, right? It actually is going about and killing cells that are going off to start someplace else in your body. So you want to take that internally. Of course, this approach appears to work for prostate cancer, as prostate cancer is similar to breast cancer in many respects. So again, guys, you need your iodine too. Guys don't tend to think of themselves as having an estrogen issue, right? We think of estrogen as being a female hormone, but we all have estrogen. We all have a lot of estrogen because of our plastics and our pesticides and our foods and things, endocrine disrupting foods. And we have, our sunscreens, believe me, we've got tons of estrogen in our bodies, and we have estrogen receptors. Men and children have estrogen, both sexes have estrogen receptors, progesterone receptors. And so you want to make sure that you're addressing that Indeed, it will likely help with most cancers. Also, higher doses of iodine are required for inflammatory breast cancer. That's that kind of aggressive breast cancer that happens to younger women. Not that whenever a younger woman gets breast cancer, it's inflammatory breast cancer, but you know what I mean. It tends to be more virulent and more fast acting and inflammatory, and you see it on the outside of the breast many times. Okay, so anyway, you can look more at that when you have time and inclination. This is a really cool slide. Nope, this isn't the one, but I'll get to that one. But iodine, this vital mineral treats breast cancer successfully. So when I was able to talk to Dr. David Brownstein on the phone, so I had tested in 2008, I had read his book, Iodine, Why You Need It, Why You Can't Live Without It. And I had tested like 20 people in a row for their iodine sufficiency. So they take a 50 milligram tablet of Lugol solution, iodoral, and send their urine off to the lab, collect their urine for 24 hours, send it off to the lab. And if there was any spillover of iodine in the urine, it would show that the person had adequate iodine stores in the body. Well, after like 20 in a row, nobody did. I wanted to talk with him, but I didn't think that was possible. But then I found out in a couple of weeks he was going to be on a call with the lab, and I got to talk with him. So I got to ask him all my questions. And I said, in all the time, and I know I'm repeating myself for a lot of you, but it bears repeating because there's so much information that we're bombarded with every day. So I said to him, how do you know how much to use with someone? He said, I just keep increasing the dose until the light bulb goes on. Unless a woman has cancer, we go straight to 50 milligrams a day. So I want to show you this next slide. This one. Iodine deficiency causes breast cancer, the overwhelming evidence. Human studies of areas with low iodine. Iodine deficiency is associated with a higher rate of goiter and breast cancer. Similarly, higher dietary iodine intake is associated with less goiter and breast cancer. For example, Japan has the highest dietary intake of iodine, 13 milligrams per day. I take, in iodoral, I take 12.5 milligrams. And that's what I have most people using, unless they've got like a problem, a thyroid problem or something, or cancer that requires more. However, when Japanese women immigrate and change their dietary intake of iodine to lower than 150 micrograms per day in America, their breast cancer rates increase. And that's basically what you're going to find in a multivitamin. And people say, well, there's iodine in my multivitamin. No, there's 150 micrograms a day. It's not going to do you any good. Iceland is another country. Anyway. But where's my, oh yeah, I wanted to go up here. So this is showing iodine treats breast cancer, overwhelming evidence. So this one says, this is reported, Dr. David Brownstein again reports 3 cases of spontaneous regression of breast cancer after women take iodine supplementation. The first patient, Joan, a 63-year-old English teacher, was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1989, declined conventional treatment, and took 50 milligrams per day of iodoral. 6 weeks later, a PET scan showed all of the existing tumors were disintegrating. Making myself dizzy going back and forth here. Upper left image, upper 2 frames is a PET scan showing breast cancer, red arrows. Lower 2 frames is a CAT scan showing enhancing breast cancer mass, the red arrow. So all of it, this is after 6 weeks. All of the existing tumors were disintegrating. She did nothing else. That's all she did. So this is really cool because in these 3 cases, that's all the person did. 50 milligrams of iodoral a day. The second patient, 73-year-old Dolores, was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2003. She declined conventional treatment with radiation and chemotherapy Instead, Dolores took 50 milligrams of iodoral daily. A follow-up ultrasound of the breast 18 months later, right, showed, quote, it appears that these malignancies have diminished in size since the last examination. You go 18 months, interval improvement is definitely seen. You think 18 months, I can't wait 18 months. You know, you get that cancer diagnosis, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, this is just, you know, a fire that's going to envelop me and, you know, engulf me in flames. Is pure encapsulations potassium iodide the correct iodine? No, it's not complete, Kathy. It is only potassium iodide, and potassium iodide pertains to the thyroid. That's what people take, right, to prevent thyroid getting burned up by nuclear fallout. So that's why when Fukushima happened, you know, back when that happened, I don't know, what was that, like 12 years or so ago? I can't remember exactly, but we couldn't get iodoral for a while because potassium iodide in there. But potassium iodide is what does that. It's really for the thyroid, but the iodine for the breast tissue, for the rest of the body, for the cancer and stuff is the molecular iodine. So that's the other part of iodoral, Lugol solution. Lugol solution is old-timey liquid. We have the liquid too, but it just, I don't know, who wants to bother with the liquid? It tastes gross too. I don't know, when you can take it in a pill. Plus, if you're going to do 50 milligrams of iodoral. So you're talking micrograms, Kathy. No, so that's like really a piddly thing. Good question. Very good question. Because sometimes you can just think you're getting, Pure Encapsulations is a great company. They've got great quality. We carry a lot of their stuff here, but that would not suffice for what we're doing here. 2 years later, a follow-up mammogram and ultrasound failed to show any abnormality and were read by the radiologist as normal. So again, just patience and iodoral, Lugol solution, iodine. This tumor went away. So it didn't spread, it didn't go anywhere, it just kept. And then this one, Joyce, the third patient, 52-year-old Joyce, was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years prior, left image and started on iodoral 50 milligrams per day. 3 years after starting our iodoral, her follow-up mammograms and ultrasound exams show decreasing size of tumor with no progression. And you think, Becky, that's outrageous. 3 years, I'm going to have this breast cancer in my body. But it's like Schallenberger says, you got to watch that video when you have time. It's about an hour long. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. Melatonin and cancer. But what's really fantastic about it is that he says, have your cancer, just don't let it grow or spread. And he says, when melatonin levels are high, cancer cannot grow or spread. So he says, you have your cancer, who cares? Just don't let it grow or spread. So, and I remember reading evidence that even, you know, infiltrating cancers, a high percentage, if left alone in 6 years, would simply go away. So, you know, just remember, and I'm not saying take your cancer diagnosis lightly, but I'm just saying, you know, you get that C word, you feel like you just fell off a cliff and you get a big 3-ring binder with a bunch of appointments and where you got to go and get going. You hardly have time to think and make decisions wisely, and off you go. And maybe you end up doing something you really don't want to do as your approach for that cancer. Anyway. Okay. So anyway, some books there, Iodine, Why You Need It, Why You Can't Live Without It, The Iodine Crisis, I've talked about those before. Glutathione is amazing for cancer. We talk about that, and the person with cancer is low in glutathione, right? But those cancer cells, because the person with cancer is low in glutathione, but the cancer cells have all this glutathione. Why? Because they're crafty, they're sneaky, they're just miserable. And they, excuse me one second, my nose is itching. They know that glutathione makes you healthy, and it makes them happy and healthy, and it protects them from the immune system coming after them or natural things, but it also protects them from chemo and radiation because those cancer treatments work by oxidative stress, by free radical damage. We talk about that all the time in antioxidants. So the conventional thinking is you don't want to use an antioxidant if you're undergoing cancer treatment, because that just protects the cancer cells from getting that. It's going to deflect it, right? It's going to protect them. No, the beautiful paradox is when you have, when you replenish glutathione in the person with cancer, it sucks the protective glutathione straight out of the cancer cells, rendering them more vulnerable to treatment, more vulnerable to the immune system, more vulnerable to the herbal things you're doing and these other things, beta-glucan and melatonin and all of that. And it strengthens the healthy cells, not to protect them from that rain of oxidative stress from the chemo and radiation that's causing your hair to fall out and your nausea and your kidney damage and your neuropathy and all of that kind of stuff. And yet it's making it more, it makes your chemo and radiation work better towards the cancer cells. It's a win-win-win. And then also, again, that's, you can see in the glutathione antioxidant cancer paradox. I talk about that there. And then the role of glutathione in cervical cancer is a really good paper. You might say, well, I don't have cervical cancer, I have lung cancer, but the principles are the same. So that's really excellent. And it does also talk about that paradox. But glutathione also fights cancer in a million, well, not a million, but in many ways. And glutathione is recycled by melatonin. So you're taking glutathione, you're taking high dose melatonin, and you're getting a much, you know, you're getting a really powerful clout, and they work so well. Remember, it was glutathione and melatonin that treated COVID, that they found that both melatonin and glutathione turned off that cytokine storm. So they work together. They're things that we make endogenously. We make them ourselves. As we get older, we make less and less of both. So just take it. Glutathione and cancer cell death. This one tells you how that works, and glutathione and cancer, another short sheet there about that. You will find conflicting things on the web. You might hear a doctor say, don't take glutathione, don't use antioxidants, and you just have to be aware. If I go to my my cancer page really quickly, let's see, wondrousroots.org. It looks like I'm going to run over a little bit. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm just like on a roll. If you have to go, it's okay, because you're going to be able to get this later. But if you just search for antioxidant, this one, antioxidants and other nutrients do not interfere with chemotherapy or radiation therapy and can kill and increase survival. So there you go. There you go. Okay. Multivitamin mineral, I use this because it's got, you need to have active forms of folate, B12. You need a good representation of the B complex that works with the glutathione. Trust me on that. A full 200 micrograms of anti-cancer mineral selenium, which also works in the glutathione pathway, 2,000 international units of vitamin D3 and the K2 to go with it. So that's the one I generally choose for those reasons. Blushwood berry. This is very cool. Blushwood berry extracts in cancer prevention. I've talked about this. This is from Australia, so it's just a certain tree. Have shown to be effective in treating cancer such as melanoma and breast cancer, and scientists have developed a drug named EBC46 from the compound extracts of blushwood berries that are said to have anti-cancer properties. Now, it's actually been FDA approved, and they're planning to go forward with chemotherapy using this. They're doing more trials and everything, but what did they say? Phase 1 clinical human trials in cutaneous solid tumors such as melanoma, squamous cell carcinoma, head and neck squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma. And I have a guy right now, he's got a squamous cell carcinoma on his neck. And it was, now I don't know what it is because he's using Keytruda too, so I'm not making any claims, but good news, he's was in the other day because I made him a goop. I have this Wondrous goop and I added blushwood berry to it. recently we made an extract that's new to my Wondrous group. And it's got formula C plus and other herbs in there. And I've got castor oil and emu oil and DMSO to drive things in. But his tumor was about the size of a tennis ball. And it was about half that. And it's been a few weeks. But again, he's using Keytruda, he's using the other things I'm on. But all I can say is it's really exciting because it's a tumor we can see. And it's going away. So that's really exciting. Ellagic acid. Ellagic acid is really important for, and it works really, really well for cervical cancer. It works well for other cancers. And again, ellagic acid comes from pomegranate. I did that program not long ago. Also from raspberries. I like to use, the concentrated capsules rather than saying, that you're going to necessarily be drinking pomegranate juice. So don't rely on that. You want to be using something that you're getting. You're doing that. And there's more here on ellagic acid and cancer. Insights from it. So all cool, all in the nature. Again, that is the, if you click on that, that's actually my YouTube video. I'm not going to click on it because it'll just, yeah, the videos don't work, in a PDF, they don't work. They work in my PowerPoint presentation. So, but these will be on my cancer page, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Sulforaphane, remember Brad Hodgkins, the powder, the green powder, broccoli and radish sprouts. So sulforaphane is highly anti-cancer, also raises glutathione, but works very well for different things. And you can see several studies here. Again, you just suppresses the growth of triple negative breast cancer. That's really important. Triple negative is difficult because it doesn't have any kind of a hormonal aspect to it. Magnesium. Magnesium itself, just plain magnesium, is very necessary for cancer. Again, magnesium miracle. DHEA, for this one, I like to advise dose individually, but generally speaking, for women, 10 to 25 milligrams daily, available in different strengths. For men, 50 milligrams daily. There's great confusion regarding the use of DHEA for hormonal cancers. And even last night, and I've got, hang on, my phone is ringing. Hang on a second. They say, oh, there's great risk. There's great risk. And if you have prostate cancer, if you've had breast cancer or something, don't use DHEA. And it really is scary. You read those warnings and that's what you hear. But here explains about DHEA. DHEA in cancer facilitates anti-aging, enhances libido, rejuvenates the immune system, prevents heart disease, reduces body fat, tames stress, restores memory, fights cancer. It's a very good article, actually. Yeah, when we come down to weight loss, cancer. In laboratory animal studies, DHEA seems to protect against several cancers, including breast, liver, lung, colon, skin, prostate, testicular, and ovarian. And according to one study, 50 milligrams daily of DHEA for 3 weeks produced an increase in the natural killer cells, which are the body's primary defenders against cancer. In small scale studies, low levels of DHEA have been associated with gastric cancer, prostate cancer, and bladder cancer, but larger scale, and it's true for breast cancer, very well known that women with breast cancer have low DHEA. It is not contraindicated. That's a good article making the argument that you don't have to worry about that. DHEAS, we take DHEA and we convert it to DHEAS sulfate, prevents breast cancer metastases, completely stops that due to estrogen. So you'd say, but Becky, DHEA is like a source of estrogen. Yes, but trust me, it's the way it's all put together. High testosterone, low DHEA, and breast cancer. Herbs and cancer. So I have a few different formulas, many botanicals that fight cancer, work through the same mechanisms of action chemotherapy does. However, because the cancer killing part is surrounded with other parts that mitigate toxicity and prevent side effects, they can be comfortably and usually safely used. I only use safe anti-cancer plants in my formula. So I don't use chaparral. I don't use, what are some of the other, I would never use bloodroot internally. We don't need to use dangerous herbs to address cancer when we have so many safe ones that work beautifully. So formula C plus, the C is not vitamin C. People are like, oh, your vitamin C formula. No, it stands for cancer. But somebody once told me I don't want cancer, like a cancer formula sitting in my medicine cabinet when my grandchildren come to visit me. So we just call it formula C plus. And these are plants in there. You can see some of the highlights, lapachal, decades of patent research. These are some of the things in there. Graviola is a big one in there. And again, you get all of the cancer fighting stuff without the side effects because the lapachal, say, in the Pau d'Arco is centered within the whole plant. And so it is not toxic. It's really a wonderful way to go. Lymphatic system support, we talked about that. People with cancer have thick, sludgy lymph. So we talked about bouncing for that. Also, this formula that we have. And again, you can click on all of these to see them. And then those in their cleavers. I love cleavers.